Let me record.
Hello.
Yes, I hear you. Thanks, everyone. Welcome. We are talking to Comrade Vama Jele. He is the regional coordinator of the Southern African Miners Association. Welcome, Comrade Jele.
Welcome.
Would you mind? Yes, would you mind telling us about your organization and what you do?
Okay, Southern African Miners Association is an organization that is made up of a number of ex-mine workers and probably current miners that are from the SADC states. We also have come together to form SAMA, but they come from an organization per country, which means in Mozambique, we've got Amimo, in Botswana, we've got Bolama, in Eswatini, we've got Swamiwa, in Namibia, we've got Mzilikazi ex-mine workers, in Zimbabwe, we've got ex-WENELA Mine Workers Association, in Malawi, we've got ex-mine workers Malawi, and as well as in Lesotho, we've got ex-mine workers of the Maran Kingdom of Lesotho. And then in South Africa, we have got ex-mine workers Council of the Eastern Cape, or Eastern Cape ex-mine workers Council.
I've been talking to
We are also looking forward on establishing an association in Zambia, which we learned that there are a couple of ex-mine workers that were recruited previously when it was in North Zambia. So they've already identified themselves. So we are still trying to connect them to the Southern African Miners Association, which is SAMA.
Okay, you said the main purpose of the Southern African Miners Association is what?
What we normally do, we work in different thematic areas, if I may say, which one is the labor migration, the health, the social protection, as well as the financial literacy, financial integration, and the last one, most of the time, it's the strategic litigation, but most of the time, we're looking at delivery of justice to them.
Okay.
Where there was not justice served to them.
Okay. We have, for instance, in Zimbabwe, as you said about the WENELA Association, that people came to work in South Africa and of course in other parts of the region that you have indicated. Where are you in terms of compensating those workers that worked during that time?
Look, the compensation process, it's all depends which compensation are you referring to, because there are a number of schemes that are targeting them on ensuring that they are able to receive compensation. That means that we've got the Tiamiso Trust, which is normally popular to people. Hence, in government of South Africa, we've got the Compensation Commissioner for Occupational Diseases. And there are those that have worked in the smaller mines, which are not registered or paying tax levy. They fall under the compensation fund under the Department of Labor. We also have an entity that is a private sector called the Rand Mutual Assurance. So there are there and there. So we must basically know which one are you referring to in the meantime.
I'm referring to people that came to work in the mines, they went back to their countries, they are sick. Of course, some have passed on. Their families want them to be compensated. I was talking to someone who's from a place called Gwanda in Zimbabwe, saying his uncle is unable to walk because he was injured at work, was not compensated. That's the kind of compensation that I'm referring to.
Okay, I will just simply say, as you know, the history of South Africa, that during that time when our former mine workers were working in South Africa, it was during the apartheid system. And we discovered that most of them were not fairly compensated, and as well as their rights are not even known to them because of the type of how we have worked in the mines. However, we have started engagement with the Rand Mutual Assurance in order to ascertain what can be done with regards to legacy issues. We are aware that Rand Mutual Insurance are supposed to cover ex-mine workers with occupational injuries, rating from the time of departure to the mine until they go to the tomb. They are supposed to be well cared. If there is any ailment that is connected to his occupational injury or injury on duty, therefore they stand to be reassessed, and then the Rand Mutual Assurance take that into consideration and treat that person. And there are other cases whereby you find that they left with information that they will be compensated, but the companies will actually send him money while he's at home. Hence, then it never ever happened. Those are the cases that we normally consider them as legacy issues.
Okay.
Whereby we have to go and track all of those that were injured by that time and see how they can be reassessed. And should there be a way to compensate them, I believe that the Rand Mutual Assurance will therefore compensate them, or even if they were compensated unfairly, they will be recompensated fairly.
So that means that those and their relatives who are outside South Africa, who are in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Botswana, Malawi, Lesotho, they have to go through the associations that you mentioned. How do they get assessed by Rand Mutual Insurance?
Currently, we are still in the conceptualization stage of how we can work with Rand Mutual Assurance, of which that means that we have to look at how we can do the tracking and tracing through the miners association in those countries. And we would like to see how we can reach more and more of them. But currently, we are still doing the administration kind of arrangements. And trying to map where we have to go and where to get the ex-mine workers, especially those that have some occupational injuries or injury on duty.
So what you are basically saying is that those that are not aware of these associations in their countries, they ought to register with them so that the associations can then engage yourselves as the Southern African Miners Association and see what can be done with the Rand Mutual. Is this what we are getting?
Excuse me? May you please repeat that again?
I'm saying you have for instance, we have been talking in various WhatsApp platforms and other platforms, social media platforms. There are people that are not aware of the existence of any association in their country. Some who are injured, as we are saying that Rand, you are still talking to Rand Mutual, there's nothing that has been finalized. So my question was, are you then encouraging ex-miners to join the associations in their different countries, who I believe then speak to you as in the Miners Association in the region?
even though they might not be able to, because sometimes joining might mean that they have to pay, though they might not be in a position to do so, they must be able to link up to the Miners Association.
Okay. So how do they link up to the Southern African Miners Association? Comrade Jele, are you still with us?
In their countries to ensure that they can fully be engaged with regard. Hello?
We lost you a bit there, Jele. I know that in Eswatini network is a bit problematic. I was asking if how can they contact the Southern African Miners Association?
Sorry, my connection was lost. But I was trying to say that even though joining might mean something differently or in a different, they can be interpreted in different ways. But what I believe in is that all the ex-mine workers in those different countries will be necessarily will be necessary for them to join the Miners Association in their countries. Or if they cannot join them because of the fee, they must be able to link themselves up to the Miners Association in their different countries to ensure that they get the information they will need in order to enjoy the justice that need to be served to them.
Okay. Do you know who represents? Do you have names of leaders of these mining associations in different countries? For instance, I know there is Mkwananzi. I can't remember his first name, in Bulawayo, who's representing ex-WENELA as miners. I'm not sure in other countries if you have information.
We do have information because most of these affiliates of SAMA forms part of the SAMA board or has a representative at the SAMA board level. We are actually working with Baba Lungelwe Mkhwanazi in Bulawayo. And we are also aware that they have a branch in Harare. And those are the two areas that we are aware of, that there are many ex-mine workers that can be found. And I also witnessed that I've been to Bulawayo and I've seen a number of ex-mine workers in Bulawayo, a number of ex-mine workers in another community in Harare. So in Malawi, we work with Baba John Dick. Baba John Dick is from Blantyre, and we have visited some sites in Malawi, in Blantyre, and as well as in Lilongwe. And we also have an association in Lesotho, where we have got Ndate Sello, Lemohan Sello, who is actually representing the ex-mine workers in Lesotho and working very close with Ndate Ransumansi. In Mozambique, we've got Mr. Moses Wamuse and Petro Mondlane that are actually working in the area. And in South Africa, we have got the chair, which is Babu Phumzile, and working with the general secretary, which is Sonwabile Jabulile Xaba. And in Namibia, we've got Babetedias Kayama. He is in the Zambezi region. And in Botswana, we've got Bolama, where we've got Ndate Kutu, and working with his general secretary, which is Mena Lady Mona Hosi. And in Eswatini, we've got Tulane Ngampalala. I also represent the board in Eswatini. But the SAMA structure is made up of the chairperson, which is Sonwabile Xaba, South Africa, and deputy president is Thaddeus Kayama, Namibia. General secretary is Moses Wamuse, Mozambique, General Secretary is Tulane Ngampala Eswatini. And then the treasurer is Menaledi Munahosi in Botswana. So that's how they form the structure of SAMA.
Okay, okay. No, because of time, Comrade Jele, we really appreciate. But do you know how many of the ex-miners are there in number? Your association, how many does it have? Would you know by?
We currently represent about 70,000 workers that are living in this region. 70,000. And sometimes some of them have passed on, but we still have the 70,000, and we have the families that actually represent them. You know for sure we have registered a number of ex-mine workers who suffer TB and silicosis in the region, and so they form part of that.
Okay.
That the database, in other words, yes.
Okay, okay. No, thanks, Comrade Vama Jele, for this discussion. We know that a lot of people are looking for information. I was talking to some comrades before this, talking about WENELA. Many saying they know they have relatives that worked in WENELA, but they didn't know about this information. We will certainly pass the information, and those, of course, that might want to contact Comrade Jele, we will write his contact number in the video so that those that would want more information can do so. Otherwise, thank you so much, Comrade Jele. And to those that are watching, please like this video, subscribe, and write your comments. We will certainly share the comments with Comrade Vama Jele. He's based in Eswatini. Are you in Babane or Manzini, Comrade Jele?
I'm in the Shiselweni region in Tlangano, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the south side of Eswatini, very close to Piritif.
Okay. I only know Mbabane and Manzini. I went there in 2016. Otherwise, Comrade Jele, have a great day. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks. Goodbye.